This is Non-Duality Talk for October 19th, 2015. I'm Jerry Katz. My guest is Bob Rose. Bob, are you in Philly?
I'm right outside of Philly. I'm in Lake Lancaster. I'm in the heart of Amish country.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, we moved out of the Philly area about 10 years ago, and it's been really nice. We're living in between Amish farms, and it's a much gentler situation.
What is Amish Skype like? I mean, how do they work that? I mean, that's...
They haven't even heard of computers yet, let alone Skype.
All right. Bob Rose, I've known Bob for a long time, and I know you as the president of the Meditation Society of America. Is that like your official title?
Yeah, exactly. And we're still in the top 10 always for meditation techniques if you Google that.
Yeah.
And I think we were fourth in the world yesterday. So we get a lot of activity directed towards us, and we have a nice group on Yahoo that also gets activity, and I moderate that. Now, we've had over 19,000 posts on that site, which compared to your site is nothing, but it keeps us busy.
Yeah. My site was Non-Duality Salon on Yahoo, which isn't open anymore. It's just it doesn't really exist anymore. But your site keeps on going, and you've had it for quite a while. And at one point, part of it was a really nice publication, like a hard copy publication that you put out.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my current IT person to put it all up again. We had 12 issues of the newsletter called The Inner Traveler, and I thought that was really beautiful.
Was.
We had amazing artists and amazing authors, including you, which I thank you
Okay.
for, and Bruce also. I
Bruce
thank
Morgan.
him for it.
Yeah.
And the quality I thought was really, really nice. So anyway, I'm
It
trying
was.
to get him. I'm trying to get him to put it up where we can share it with everyone at any time.
Yeah, those were timeless, and you definitely should put them up. But so, what website are we talking about? You have a URL for us?
Yeah, it's meditationsociety.com.
Meditationsociety.com.
Yeah, and
Okay.
if you go to it, the front page has right in the center where you can click and check out the Yahoo Group, which, as I said, has 19,000 posts. I think we have 966 people actually have joined it. You have to join to post questions or answers or comments.
Yeah, but
And I'm the moderator, and I keep it down to about 20 or so posts a month. And a lot of them are just almost like a news department about meditation. If the New York Times has something good about it, or Mad Magazine has something interesting about meditation, I'll quote it.
um,
And then I write stuff, and Dan writes stuff, and Sandeep writes stuff.
you're talking
And
names like you're talking Dan Burko.
yes, I am.
Okay, and Sandy.
Sandeep
Oh,
Chatterley.
Sandeep
Yeah.
Chatterjee.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
that's terrific stuff.
you got some
So,
heavy hitters there.
yeah, you
Not
bet.
to mention you. Yeah, so I'm very aware of your Yahoo group, though I haven't been on it for a long time. But the way you're describing it, it's very high quality. Again, people can go then to Yahoo groups and look up, or just go to your website, meditationsociety.com,
Yeah, and it's
and
right on
they'll
the
have the
front
link to
page.
your
If you
Yahoo
click
group.
there, it'll take it there. Yeah. And I think what's nice about it is because there's so many good people who have shared on it throughout the years. I think we've been doing it since 1999, 98, something like that. You can search about anything to deal with non-duality, Zen, Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, anything like that, and you'll find stuff.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. I
Now
was
the
certain.
site,
Yeah.
yeah, the site itself has dozens of how to do it techniques, and I think why it's good is it's written in American. So I think anyone from any type tradition can pick it up, and if you're familiar with English, it's pretty easily understood. There's not many complex things. There's no religions that are specific to it. There's no cult-like stuff. We don't allow ads of any kind. Although I think I just made my first book recommendation in years the other day, which is sort of like an ad for something, but I thought it was
Yeah.
a real good book.
Yeah. What book was that?
Um, Mala, I'll find the name and I'll get it to you. Could you check that book for me, please? So anyway, it's nothing that'll get you involved with a cult or a specific religion, but I think it'll apply to every religion and every tradition.
Yeah, I'm aware of your work, and it's just very universal, and there's nothing to, nothing crazy or fanatical about or anything like that. I mean, you draw good people around you, and I like what you said. You said it's meditation. It's a meditation society of America. You make a point of saying America, meaning North America and people that are raised in the West. So that it sounds like it's fairly free of the language of India and Asia and
Yeah, exactly,
things
and
that people aren't
that was
familiar with.
intended. So it's good. And unless Bruce and I are arguing about the Eagles being better than the Giants, it really stays on track. Specifically, my goal is to share things that help people evolve in consciousness,
You've been
whatever
doing it.
those
I know you've
words
been doing it
may be.
for well, at least online since around the time I started. So you're looking at 98 or so, 99.
Yeah, I think
And
it's.
maybe even before that, when did you actually start organizing the teachings of meditation?
Well, I started teaching in '88 at local to the Philadelphia suburbs adult education programs, and back in '88. The first place I taught was a place called Montgomery County Community College. And they said, this is a quote, it's a quack thing, but we'll let you try and see if people are interested.
Yeah,
And it was such a quack that the head of the program, and they have like 400 adult courses they offer, she sent her top two assistants, and they both ended up signing up for the next like 2, 3, 4 years in a row. And just we ended up teaching at five different adult schools for 18 and a half years and had over 4,000 live students, which are the best kind. So
amazing.
it was really nice. And then when we moved out here, I decided enough of that. It's too much running around, etc. And I was just going to focus on spoiling my grandchildren.
So
And I
that's
do a good
yeah.
job.
So tell me about your family then.
I have two kids, and my son is out in Arkansas, and he's really a sweet man. He's so nice, and he married a wonderful girl in Arkansas. And if you're first in your class, maybe you're magna cum laude, and if you're second, you're summa cum laude. And she graduated University of Arkansas like the second smartest, whichever one that is. So they are really tremendously different than most people in Arkansas, but that's where they got together. And they've blessed me with a grandson and a granddaughter. And
Oh,
here I have a daughter who's blessed me with three terrific granddaughters, 11, 7, and 4. And I just find my recommendation is everybody skip having children and go right to grandchildren.
yeah, yeah. Just marry into
Yeah, it's just wonderful
that.
to spoil kids and then give them back if they act cranky or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me tell you about the book. I now have it in my hand. Mala of the Heart, 108 Sacred Poems. Forward by Jack Hornfield, Ravi Nathwani, and Kate Voigt. And what it has is Rumi and, let's see, Turanam, Dante, as in Dante's Inferno, and all sorts of tremendous small things that you can sit and meditate on any of these 108 poems. And they're not necessarily poems that rhyme, but boy, they really, I think, elevate nicely.
so can you read something and How would you turn it into a meditation then that people can listen to or be involved in? Or I don't know. I'm going to put you on the spot here.
No, that's fine. I just opened the book at random. There is a desert I long to be walking, a wide emptiness, peace beyond any understanding of it, by Rumi.
Rumi,
So what
yeah.
you would do with that is, like the Sufis have a wonderful tradition where you read things, you read them first just to get the words in, you second to try and understand the words, third to try and be able to share them with people. There is a desert. Well, what's a desert? I long to be walking, a wide emptiness. And you look within yourself. Can you find a desert? So to me, I could start my meditation process by thinking to myself, what would I like to be empty of? And that would be everything that's not non-dual. No good, no bad, a desert there. No up, no down. No happy, no sad. This is like being in the Tao instead of being yin or yang. So peace beyond any understanding of it. So this is a pointing to how to gain peace without any understanding of it. You don't have to be, oh, I can compare it to not knowing anything. Oh, I can feel I have this knowledge and I can hold on, just nothing. To me, wisdom is that which in silence is real now. Now's the only time that is. In the past, it's gone. In the future, who knows? What is the only reality we can know is now. So anyway, you can extrapolate on any of these 108 in a similar fashion. I don't know how clear that was, just giving it verbally, but I find it a really nice key to meditation and things to meditate on that aren't just looking at a candle, that aren't just repeating a word. There's different techniques, I feel, for different purposes. Like with non-duality, I think it's often very appropriate for a intellectually inclined person to deal with the thoughts about, well, what consists of reality and extrapolate from there. And you could find sources of wisdom. I don't pronounce names very well. I'm kind of dyslexic, and verbally is one of them. Like with Ramana Maharshi,
Yeah.
I would go there and try and understand his thoughts on non-duality. And just by reading them and trying to understand them and understand them well enough to share them, perhaps I can become at one with his wisdom, with his view of the universe, with his view of reality, and it is my view at my highest inside. If I'm in a desert, if Bob Rose isn't there. So anyway, that's a good book, I think, to start with. There's so many of them, and there's so many ways. I also, do you mind if I keep just rapping?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bob.
To me, part of what we want to do is become well balanced, and different techniques may help you become more well balanced than sticking to one technique only. For instance, like I mentioned, I feel the quest to experience non-duality is often an intellectual challenge. And I remember in the early years when it was the hottest thing in the world to discuss non-duality, you had brilliant people making these brilliant observations of what truth is and what's not truth. But that's mostly for the mind. There's
Hmm.
other types of meditation. There's other types of being, like chanting the names of God, uh, bhakti yoga, doing acts that are kindness, karma yoga, doing things physically to get control, asanas in yoga. And all humans are three different types of people: intellectually,
Hmm.
emotionally, and physically. And that which can witness yourselves in a what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What's your body doing? That which can witness it is your real self. Your mind is not going to continue forever. Your emotions change every moment. Your body, every cell has changed in a different way since we began talking. That which can witness it is the only hope we have to evolve, to be able to transcend a kind of prison our mind puts us in, a prison our emotions put us in, a prison our body has us in. It's limitations, 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 and they're all judging good, bad, up, down, dangerous, safe, healthy, unhealthy. And that which can witness it is silently able to watch it. So here's the deal. If you can stay in that witness position, you can see, gee, my intellect, for instance, dominates things. If someone presents something to me, I might be able to argue it intellectually, but you know what? I won't be able to feel it that tremendously strong emotionally, and I won't be able to control my physical reaction to whatever was presented to me. So the key for that person would be to tame that which is strongest, his intellectual or her intellectual reactivity, and strengthen the other two to where it's equally aware. So you might want to start doing emotional meditation techniques, such as chanting the name of the Lord or just repeating peace, peace, peace. And you might want to start being aware of your body. Where do you have tension in your body? Can you be aware of it and then release it? And make all three facets of your humanity equal in strength, and you have control over them. You don't let your mind run like a wild horse. You put reins on that horse, pull it in. You don't let your emotions soar or sink. You control them. Similarly with your body, you don't expend needless energy in any way, in tension that you don't need to have tension. And how you do it is by paying attention now. So there's different techniques, there's different methodologies. To stick with one methodology may be tremendous for some people, but I think they might end up being a lopsided saint. They might gain the infinite, and I have no doubt that people have, but still need to progress with being able to otherwise not get, like if you're intellectually able to get to enlightenment, whatever enlightenment is, will you still be able to be okay if it gets cold out and not curse the snow? Will you still be able to not get uptight and expend energy if you're watching a movie and it gets to a scary part? So
Mhm.
I think there's a real need for everyone to take a look at the techniques they're using, even if it's no technique. That's quite a difficult methodology. Or if they're
Mhm.
using something exclusively, will that limit your ability to be a well-balanced person? Anyway, that's a pretty big wrap. That's a lot of why I've gone to so many different methodologies and to want to share multiple ones. And our site does that nicely, I think.
Yeah, if someone goes to your site, meditationsociety.com, are they guided then into techniques that might be right for them?
Not by words. This is all just on the screen. It tells you what to do to look within. It tells you what to do to look without or within. There's many from many different traditions, but they all end up focusing on what now has come under the heading of mindfulness. Are you in the moment? Do these things bring you in the moment? I hope so. Similarly, everything that we post on the Yahoo Group, like when Dan or Sandeep write, they usually make my mind stop its chattering. And to me, your chattering mind is the basic demon within. I get stunned by the beauty of a Rumi poem. I get stunned by the wisdom of a clever perception of any given thing. For instance, when I read about how our mind changes every single second, I can just look in that moment and witness my mind chattering and going off and on about it. Oh, it doesn't apply to me. Oh my God, it does apply to me. And then watch my emotions soar and watch my body tense and relax. And that witness, the more I'm at one with it, the more I'm gaining self knowledge. That's my real self, and self control. Because if I see myself going towards negativity, I can do the wisest thing. What's the exact opposite? For instance, if I'm stuck in being terribly sad about something, I say to myself, what could I do that's the opposite of that? And that would be, how would I be if I was absolutely okay with whatever has happened? We can go to the worst thing that happened, like in the 20th century. Perhaps that was the Holocaust. And you
Hmm.
could say, oh my God, that's such a black thing. It makes me so sad. But then you could say, but then again, there was Schindler. We saw someone who saved so many people who would have been killed. I bet I have that trait within me. And sure enough, you're going to have that good trait as a potential within you. And you know what? You'll benefit more by trying to emphasize the good, the pleasant, instead of the bad. And I can give you a formula for what's good and what's bad. It's very simple. What's bad is what takes your peace away. What's good is what gives you real peace. And I don't mean temporarily, like crack. Smoke crack cocaine, which I haven't done. I bet that'll feel good temporarily. But then when you find yourself being sad that it ended and having to go out and steal grandmom's radio to hawk it to get more crack, that's definitely not a good. What's good is what gives you real peace. And introspection, to witness your life as it's taking place, to be in reality. 99.999% of the time, there is no boogeyman going on now, in this moment.
You say I'm on your website a section called the Total Meditation System, and you describe it. You say this form of meditation is called total because the practice calls for a continuous state of meditation 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And that's what I'm hearing from you. It's a
Yes.
it's a
And
total
I
perception.
recently quoted one of my big heroes, Wilt Chamberlain, the
Yeah,
greatest basketball player that ever
played
lived.
for the Philadelphia Warriors, right?
That's right, yeah. He had a wonderful 45 record, which no longer exists remotely, called That's Easy to Say, but So Hard to Do.
Yeah.
So to me, the instantaneous enlightenment that has happened apparently to some people, like Krishnamurti, perhaps Bruce, there's such a rarity with that. I'm going to give you a personal example and share something that happened to me. I used watching my breath for 19 and 3/4 years before I realized I was breathing. It took a long time. And I made an effort to watch every breath, every moment, all that time. It really put me in the present. It helped me recognize being a witness to my life. It's a mantra that never ends as long as we have physical life. But it really took me forever. So in a way, Jerry, you're now talking and everybody's listening to the worst meditator of all time. It took me so long to just be able to be here now in the moment with my breath.
Tell me again how that resolved. You were paying attention to your breath for 19 and three
Yes,
quarters years.
yeah.
And so
Yeah, I
then
was taught a
what's the,
technique called
talk about,
sopam.
just talk about the resolution of that a little bit more.
Yeah. In one moment on my 40th birthday, the breath came to me without me seeking to watch it, to witness it, to feel it, to know it, to think about it. The breath just came to me. Meditation at some point comes to you, and the effort you put in, it becomes effortless. And in that moment, you're there. You're witnessing your life as it takes place. There's no more guessing in a fantasy way about what happened in the past. You know what? We don't know what happened in the past. Our eyes didn't see it appropriately. Our ears didn't hear it appropriately. Our feelings changed immensely in any given past. Everything was different than reality. We only see things in a small way. Everything I feared about the future, hoped about the future, was just daydreaming fantasy. In the moment when you become at one with your witness, you're free. You're free. Like if you picture the yin yang sign, there's darkness on the right, there's light on the left, and there's a little bit of light inside the darkness. For instance, go back to the Holocaust. In the middle of that light, there was the recognition that all of humanity realized how horrible genocide was. And on the left, where there's beautiful things going on. For instance, in the 20th century again, Mother Teresa was healing lepers and the poorest people on earth. And that's so wonderful. Now, here's the funny part. My daughter would say, oh, but she had wrinkles. That was when she was a teenager. So she found a little darkness in Mother Teresa. The line in the middle, that's the Tao. That's where you want to be sitting and witnessing, neither overwhelmed by the beauty or the horror of any given moment. And you know what? That Tao in the middle goes to the outer circle that surrounds all the good and all the bad. And if you really get into the Tao, you become on the outside and infinite from there. Mm-hmm. Totally transcendent of judging good, bad, up, down, safe, dangerous, etc. So we're looking, I think, all of us to be in the moment, to live for real. And there's formulas for what's good, formulas for what's bad, and ways to balance yourself so you can perceive this and know without that inner chatterer telling you this ain't going to work. This is the way that it'll work forever.
I'm looking at your again your webpage, the homepage on meditationsociety.com, and you have interesting sections like what is meditation and your total meditation system. You described your own there with the breathing. You have 108 meditation techniques and technique archive and more. And of course you have the Yahoo Group and meditation classes. Do you still give those online, or what do you do with that?
The classes, no, I still do teach privately to small groups and one-on-one. I live in a lovely environment for meditation. It's so calm and serene in this countryside area. It's so non-hectic. But we have stopped doing the classes. It was just simply an 18 and a half year run at 5 different adult programs, as many as 8 classes a week. And I do work full time as an RN.
Right. Yeah.
So I have stopped that, and I want to stop doing anything particularly except stuff that'll help me karmically, if such a thing works. Does it work if you do good deeds? Does that help you karmically? Well, I'm trying. I think being a nurse has helped me work stuff out like that. I think the main things that help you evolve is empathy, real empathy, and compassion. There's a formula. The humbler you are and the more compassionate you are, the faster you'll grow spiritually. That's from my experience, from probably reading or whatever, getting it from someone else. But I really feel if your activities are geared towards being helpful to other people in some way, they're going to be a lot better for you. You'll feel better, et cetera, et cetera. And this being humble really puts you in a tremendous advantageous position. Therefore, if people say, oh, you're an egotist, oh, you're ugly, oh, your body should be shamed, or anything negative, say, pile it on. This makes me more humble. This really, humble is maybe humiliating me in one way, but in another way, it stops me from that ego game of, oh, I'm just here for my own good, and I think that's harmful to our spiritual growth. I really think you gotta be. You've done a tremendous job. I kiddingly, but not kiddingly, told you to pat yourself on your spiritual back, and I mean it, Jerry. You've been the number one person to share, as I said, things that help people evolve in consciousness. That's the greatest thing you can give people. It'll help them a lot more than money. It'll help them a lot more than praise. It'll help them a lot more than getting a shiny new car.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to do. And you're working as an RN, I guess, you have great, like as you mentioned, have great opportunities throughout the day. And do you ever bring meditation to your job? Are there ever
Oh,
opportunities?
consistently,
Yeah.
consistently.
Well, you
Uh,
might do it for your own, for your own flow through the day. But do you ever, is there ever a patient that seems right for,
yeah,
learning meditation?
absolutely. Yeah. I'm now dealing with 100 to 150 boys who are between 7 and, well, we go up to even 20, who are such behavior problems they can't live even in a foster family, let alone their own family,
Hmm.
who they can't go to regular schools. There's such behavior problems. So every one of them that I deal with every day, and I deal with dozens of them every day, I talk to them every single day. And basically, what I'm saying is teaching them methods to drop their anger, drop their fear, drop their aggressiveness, and look at another perspective. I implement this all the time. Similarly, the staff I work with are tremendously stressed out often. There's before 7 o'clock this morning, we had two kids in a violent hold that had to be put into holds. They were ripping each other apart, ripping rooms apart, and stuff like that. So, in the immediacy of the situation, I try and be available to chill them out. I go in and I try, and I often, I'm pleased to say, can succeed in sharing things that'll get them to stop their rage and turn it off and go to another method. I also work with nurses. They're really nice people, and we share meditation stuff every single day. We share stress management techniques every single day. And it's fun to watch how people have become less uh, anxious. You talk about benefits of meditation, and they talk about it lowers your blood pressure and stuff like that. Just functionally, in the moments of the day, you implement stuff. You see, my God, look how tense you are. Relax. Take 10 deep breaths. Anything you do in the moment, change it to what's good, to what brings you peace. What brings other people peace in any given moment. And if your job is involved with sharing or dealing with people who are in distress, who don't have the appropriate behavior, well, it's a world of inviting opportunity to, I'm confident, really help them. There's a
Hmm.
terrible tragedy in America, in Canada, in so many places in the Western world where half the world knows it's very important to learn methods to deal with stress. We learn, like here in the Philadelphia area, we have to take Pennsylvania history. Why in the world am I learning when William Penn was given land to turn it into Pennsylvania, the state I live in? It'd be much more good for the children here to learn to meditate and to deal with life in a much better way, much more civilized way, a much better way to gain self control and inner peace. And
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but I never used a bit of the geometry I was forced to learn in school, and I would have much rather, and I know I would have benefited much more earlier in life if I had been taught just watch your breath, repeat a mantra, uh,
Yeah.
read a Bible, read Bhagavad Gita, read.
Were you as a kid? Did you have this sensitivity to something beyond, the everyday world?
Well, as you know, I had a cousin, Jerry Katz, and him and Earl Katz and me, we used to, as children, as little kids, sit in the car and pretend we were in a spaceship. So we were always looking for a way out of this world and to think cosmically. And then, because the hippie chicks were so gorgeous, I had to become a hippie. And to become a hippie, all of a sudden, you had to know about peace and love. And I would go see Allen Ginsberg. And then I became, by the age of 22, I had already met Swami Satchidananda and started seeing different gurus. And at the time, and since then, I've been able to be in the environment that enhances those opportunities. And instead of going to heavy metal, I went and I became okay with Bob Marley. And I dealt with singers and singing, and everything in my life became more and more towards how do I find what's really peaceful, what's wisdom, what's an appropriate way to act in life. Because I was not a great person, nor am I now, for the early part of my life. I left home at 15 and I had to steal hubcaps and radios from cars to pay my rent and to eat. So I went from being a thief, I hope, to being a good citizen. I only had one ticket in the past 30 years for speeding, for instance. That's my little contribution to being a safer driver. So you try and be a person that's the Dalai Lama has a terrific technique. Let me segue right to that because I think it'd be nice to share that. Every day he supposedly does a technique where he looks within and he visualizes himself on the left side of his inner mind and he says, how would people see me if they thought they couldn't trust me? If I was a thief, let's say. And he visualizes himself, how would he look in a mirror if he saw himself being the type of person who would be a thief? And then on the right side of his mind's eye, he sees himself as being the opposite of a thief, a person who likes to give to other people. How would people look at me? How would they see me if I was a generous giver of things instead of someone who's trying to steal them from people? Then you visualize on the left, how would I look to people if I was sad? And then on the right, how would I look to myself and to other people when I'm happy? And similarly, you go on and on with the dualities of life. How do I look if I'm dumb? How do I look if I'm smart? How do I look if I'm healthy? How do I look if I'm sick? And you see yourself at the end of this, whenever it feels appropriate, you see everyone on the left, the person you'd be if you only had the negative characteristics. And then you see yourself on the right, and you were only the person who had all the positive characteristics. And that's all. You don't make any commentary. This is all visualization. But then during the day, what you find is if you start doing the things that are what, let's say, an ignorant, terrible person would be doing, you are aghast. You are so sick of seeing yourself that way that you automatically start doing the opposite. Mm-hmm. And more, you become that saintly, generous, empathetic, compassionate, giving person that is on the right. And we all have the potential to be that, and it feels so much better the closer you can become to that.
That's a great technique right there that anyone can use. People are using it, as they listen,
Yeah,
we are using it.
I hope so. And that which is witnessing and visualizing within your mind's eye, that's your witness. And I'm telling you, we're all going to drop our body, our thoughts and our emotions. The only thing that might continue is that witness. I've got a friend now who's 4 months old, Matthew. And Matthew is the cutest little boy, and he is so in the moment, without judgment, without comparison, without this inner chatter driving him, without being prideful. He is selfish, though. Boy, when he wants his bottle, you know it. So we all have to look within. Can we be as purely in the moment and honest without any jeopardy, without any hopes, without any commentary as Matthew, as a child. My favorite teacher was Swami Satchidananda. I thought he was just so sweet a man, so wise a man, did so much good. And he had lived for 2 years with Ramana Maharshi. He had lived for years with Sri Aurobindo. And then he finally found his master, Swami Shivananda. And Swami Shivananda produced at least 13 totally enlightened disciples, and I don't think anyone else came near that. But in any event, I remember being at one of his rather intimate satsangs where he shares questions and answers. And someone asked him, well, who was your greatest teacher? You were with the greatest men in the 20th century. And his answer was children. And I think we need that find, that child within, that innocent, non-commenting, just observing, angelic being within us. And we all had it. It's still there, that witness, that child. And that's how you evolve. I want to share a theory with you.
Yeah.
And theory is, this is sort of Carlos Castaneda-ish and Meister Eckhart-ish and Gurdjieff. There's a methodology to take a look at your life as if it's a balloon. Mm-hmm. And the good acts you do develop a higher spiritual energy within you. And we're not only building a physical body constantly, we're building a spiritual body constantly. And maybe it's your dream body, your astral body, whatever. But supposedly, the more good things you think, the more good deeds you do, the more good energy fills that balloon within. That is you, transcendent and independent, and yet at one with your physical body. And the more you do good, the more that energy grows. And that's what can levitate you up to higher and higher and higher levels. And if you become totally filled with this good energy, perhaps when your body dies, that one can ascend to be at one with all of Earth, to be at one with the whole solar system, to be one with the whole galaxy, to be one with the entire universe. And that one is conscious of the cosmic. That's cosmic consciousness. It's available now, but we fill it with nonsense. I fill mine with worrying about the Eagles game tonight. And of course that's a neutral thing. But if I allow myself to get upset if the Giants score too many points, I could be flowing some of that energy. Negativity diminishes that inner inflating divine balloon.
So how do you root for a team? How do you enjoy life? If it seems like enjoying life sometimes means going to a game or playing a game where someone's going to win, someone's going to lose.
Yeah, you bet. That's fun. That's part of the enjoyment of life, and I don't mean to diminish that, but I'm kind of greedy. Boy, if the Eagles are doing good, I'm going to enjoy the heck out of that. But if they start doing bad, I'm not going to let myself get all depressed about it. I'll change those commonly feelings of sadness. Oh, my team lost.
Yeah.
And I'll try and convert it into holy thoughts and wish the best for the Giants and try and be happy for the joy the Giants fans are going to feel. And prepare myself for tomorrow when I go into work and have my nose rubbed into it that the Giants beat the Eagles by the Giants fans.
Who's favored? I'm not really following football this year, but who's favored?
Well, that's the problem. The Eagles were favored to win the Super Bowl, and they've been horrible this year. But that's my nonsense. I don't. Well, my religion is footballism, and my denomination is egoism.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if I had a religion, to be frank and for real, I would be a Rastafarian. I just love the Rastafarian philosophy, and I haven't smoked pot in dozens of years, decades. But that's secondary to their trying to be. They have a lovely thing. Instead of saying you and I are talking, Jerry, they would say I and I,
I
because
and I.
we're the same, and they would know that God is with us, a higher power that unites us and everything else, and they would say I and I and I. We'll be discussing these topics. And every time you
Yeah.
talk with a Rasta, you're at one with them. It's nice.
It all kind of sounds like variations on your when you spent 19 and three quarters years attending to breath. And so I guess you could, you could attend to something like I and I, start paying
Well,
attention to that instead of you and I.
yeah, well, talking about the eyes, simultaneously, I also, for all that time, did third eye meditations. And as I said, not only did breath come to me, but those inner visions opened the door to me.
Well, I had a lot of experience with that, kind of spontaneously. I never really pursued it, but
Right. It comes spontaneous.
but
Exactly.
that's something. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Where did that lead you? Where did third eye meditation? I'm going to again ask how things resolve, because at some point
Okay.
things shift. There's a major shift, a
Yeah, well,
180
I had a
degree shift.
surprise in that. After having hundreds, perhaps thousands, what seem like hundreds of thousands of experiences that are visually transcendent, where I visualized things. By the way, there's a third eye meditation technique on the website that's pretty classic, and I did that for this whole time too. And I would have tremendous visions, and they would consist often of perceiving not just the solidity of things, but let's say the cellular structure of things, the molecular structure that makes up the cells, even the atomic structures that make up the molecules, even the subatomic, perhaps you'd call them the quarks that make up the atomic structures, and perhaps even the strings, if that's the latest definition of pre-Quarkian energy. And I would see things as a paisley pattern dance of energy, and it was beautiful, kaleidoscopic paisley pattern energy in a dance. I would look across the room and see someone and see that they're made of this gorgeous dance of paisley pattern energy, and they would say something, and the words themselves would take these geometric, beautiful designs and become me. My magnetism or gravity would suck them in, and I would realize we're all at one. Well, there came that day where that, and I would see a screen of this energy and know that this dance of life is so beautiful and so infinite, and there was an eternity that you felt and knew that this is the energy that makes up everything, the Big Bang till now and infinite. But then the walls parted, and I no longer had to do a third eye technique. And it came to me what was behind that wall. And that's absolutely indescribable, but it comes to you. And it comes when it comes. Perhaps by
Yeah.
grace, who knows? But it comes.
So you would spend how long did this third eye meditation happen for how long?
Well, they would vary, and it would be all subjective how long each experience happened. But now my life takes place now, and it continues to take place now, and it takes place now, and it takes place now. And sometimes these extraordinary things come to me, and other times things are very, very solid.
But
And
that's
so it's being in the Tao if you're graced enough to be there.
so the third eye meditation went on, and people listening might think, well, this takes so long. There's so much effort. But I think when you're in the middle of it, you're not really thinking of time, or
Not a bit.
it's just what's unfolding. It's life unfolding.
Yeah,
And I like hearing about that resolution. You talked about a door opened somehow, something, the entire third eye phenomena somehow, the way I'm seeing it, kind of like divided, kind of like the Red Sea,
right,
and what was
right.
there is what you just said, just the now, everything, just the now and the now. And that.
Yeah, and I always end a lot. I don't always. I often end a lot of the things I've written with, "And you live happily ever after." And I'm not being that facetious about that. It gives you a confidence. I'm ready to drop my body right now, and I have full confidence in that moment. I'll be okay. I know that now,
Yeah.
and it gives you that too. But I really would love everyone to have that. But instead, we're taught Pennsylvania politics, we're taught geometry, and we're not taught meditation techniques, stress management techniques. We're not taught to think about non-dual thought. We're not being taught mindfulness, although now it is red hot. Mindfulness is maybe the fastest growing subject in schools. Here in the Philadelphia area, the University of Pennsylvania has been doing extraordinary things with teaching mindfulness in prisons and finding tremendous results. I have an article I didn't put up yet about how well they're doing with athletes, teaching them mindfulness, and it's improving their athleticism tremendously. And I feel that more and more and more we're going towards what half the world knows. It really pays in a big way to have your society as a whole dwell on what's good for you. And what's good for you is to evolve in consciousness, to learn who yourself is, to have self-knowledge and self-control.
Bob Rose, Meditation Society of America. Your website is meditationsociety.com. This was great hearing you talk. I never heard you talk. I've always been aware of you, but
I've been hiding, Jerry. I really.
you and Bruce Morgan, who I just interviewed, yeah, you both got to come out of hiding.
Well, I'm glad Bruce has. I just think he's so brilliant. And I want to point everyone to Bruce's website. I wish I had it in front of me right now, but oh my gosh, it's called Words of Wisdom. And
Yeah.
wow, it's just an invariable. You can go to any part of that site, and just the insights can take you right out of your chattering mind and place you in this moment. And it's a sweet moment.
And Bruce actually recommended you. He said, talk to Bob Rose. And I said, well, I haven't talked to Bob in years. He's probably mad at me, Anyway,
I love you. I'm never going to be
I
mad at you,
love
my
you.
friend.
So, and people can go to nonduality.org where Bruce Morgan's interview is, and they'll find the link to his to his book and to his new Facebook site and stuff. So it's good to talk about Bruce. It's just great to talk to you, Bob. On this,
Well,
your
it's great to talk to you. Let's do it again
your
sometime.
whole way of looking at things. You speak for a life that's well balanced, and taking the non-dual view. I mean, sometimes you'll practice a meditation to help reduce a moment of stress, like you do in your job, but ultimately it's to be aware of this witness, to be aware of who is aware.
Right.
And
And I wish everyone well in getting to the point where they're really capable of being in this moment. It's nice.
Bob Rose, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's great talking to you, Jerry. And goodbye, everybody. I love you all.
And my guest has been Bob Rose, whose website is meditationsociety.com. Highly recommend anything having to do with Bob. This has been Non-Duality Talk. Our website is nonduality.org. I'm Jerry Katz. Thank you for listening.